So here's stupid trash government again, covering for celebrities, and they would know he's a celebrity or at least working with celebrities because they literally just had like an album, like a thing come out. And I'm a kid. Again, I don't know who the hell these damn people are, and I did not listen to that music. You could follow my history and how I talk shit. Like, I did not listen to that at all, so I wouldn't know who the hell that is. And I said that there's a celebrity drug ring, did I not? I said that there's all the people in it were like all related to that. And the main guy that I'm talking about, where the gang members wanted to kill him, that's the guy that was living with Motley Crue and some guys from the band Rat, and was hanging out with the GNR people, right? So this is the guy that they were pissed off at. And who knows what Molly Crew's involved in? They're a bunch of trash, like those other guys in the band. So, they kill people too. So, the thing here is, the agents actually, this was the first case I reported where it revolved around me and someone else, not just well, my workplace was that, but I mean, I'm talking about a kid, like something I witnessed. So it was my very first one. So nobody's coming out now just making up a story because they have all that information. So what was the description of the guy? They asked me, and I go, he's a dwarf. I used probably the other word, but he's a dwarf, and he's a gangbanger. I was like, like the whole thing. I go, and he has this pal that's taller than him, and they're running out here with a gun, and, the dude's coming up to me, and he's hitting on me, and he was up to no good. Like, he's going to do something, like he's going to go human traffic and stuff. So then he pulls out this girl off the side street, and he was walking with her. He's like, oh yeah. And he gave me this like street name he gave her. And he said she was 13. Now, the truth may be she could have been 10, but to me, she looked 10. I was like, I mean, it doesn't even matter, okay? These guys have no respect. They demand respect on the fucking street, and they're up in here doing this shit to me. So then they had to respect me because somebody told him to F off. And then he's like, and that little dwarf went crawling away with his buddy. But they're not like these like weak little dudes though, because they have weapons, and he was in the open with these weapons, and he looked ridiculous. The thing about it wasn't even like the normal looking ones where like they're kind of dressed up, like Dr. Dre and them when they're all dressed up in their bullshit, but they weren't looking like this. This was like stereotypical TV, like, I don't know. And, when I found out, I was like, oh, maybe this rapper, I go, oh, that might explain the over-the-top ridiculousness of this. Because it was just like, what the living nightmare. He's a pedophile. The dwarf is a pedophile because he's looking for kids. He has a kid with them. I go, that whole thing is bullshit where they're like, oh, they kill him in jail because of that. I was like, well, why? They didn't do nothing here with them. He's in the open doing it, and his homies are just like, whatever. Get out of here with that shit. So, yeah, so I brought him up. I didn't know who he was yet, so I reported to him, and they're asking me, they're like, how tall do you think he is? I'm like, well, he's shorter than me. He's a dwarf. He's a small guy. Like, who fits that description? That's what I was saying. I go, this is one of the ones that was so easy, because I was like, how many little dwarf gangbangers are running around in Hollywood in that month and doing this bullshit? You know what I mean? Like, there's only so many, right? There's only so many, mostly at that time. And I go, if you could literally find a dwarf in the area in this moment of time, you could pretty much say it's probably that person. That's how that case was. That's why I was like, oh, this one I can probably really help out. We're going to identify him by his body. Because, the face thing's always hard. But, yeah, so then, and his pal, right? So the duo there. So, yeah, so I gave that information before knowing any of this stuff. I didn't know any of this stuff. I honestly thought like they just crawled in from the south side and they were trying to like jack tourists or something. And, and pimp off the young girl, So I was just like, okay, and then, I don't know, it was like maybe, yeah, around 2014 or something. When I started these investigations, like this guy pops up somewhere I was like, let me just take a look and see if anybody small like that got arrested. I don't know. I was looking at a whole bunch of stuff, I guess. And I see that son of a bitch and I go, are you kidding me? I was like, is that the guy? Because it looks like the guy. But when I was reading about him, it was all, oh, he's from this whole other state and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I guess there could be a possibility. There's another one somewhere else. But I was like, I don't know. But he did come out here. So I was like, well, I don't know if he was out here at that time. If he's out here at that time, then we know who it is. I mean, it's just, I'm thinking it was him. That was like my first initial thing about it. And so then the Suge thing was kind of I don't know if it was a joke. It was kind of like, I was like, he kind of looked like him. It could have been him. And, I was like doing this thing. But then I looked it up and I was like, oh, he actually was here though. It doesn't mean it was him, but I was like, oh, that's really weird. And we're talking specifically the city. That's what we were looking for in this month period of time. And I was like, oh, well, he was. So, oh. And then that was the question. I was like, well, I don't know what. I mean, I can't rule him out as hanging out on a corner, but I don't think it was him. I think it was just somebody like him. Or it was like a real narc officer, right? Like some bullshit like that. So, I mean, there was a whole bunch of things in it that they could be. But I was like, okay, well, I don't know who would be talking to Dr. Dre's dwarf over here to where he'd be like, it's all good, dude. Oh, God, this guy was so disgusting. It was one of the things that stood out in this whole thing, like, as so foul because, I mean, everything was foul. But the dude's just like in the open with the half naked kid, like a little kid. And I'm just like, and literally no one cares. It's literally on the boulevard right there by the Spice Club. So between the Spice Club and that corner thing there where the ring was going on. So I was like, okay, well, nobody cares. That's the mindset of the time, you guys. Why are you guys acting like you guys cared at the time? Like, this isn't a thing where it's like in private, some side street, nobody knows anything going on. I mean, they're in an open place where there's businesses and, and tour, everybody out here. I'm out here. I'm a little kid. That's even a younger kid. That was not okay. I tried to rescue my friends trying to do some bullshit back home, and they claimed they weren't going to, but no, this I knew was very bad. But they did not use the term human trafficking, okay? So, yeah. So those two losers are attempting to human traffic me, or try to hook up, right? Because the dude's like, it was known, like, they don't need to say anything. The thing is that they're rubbing their gun, showing like, you don't fucking, try to, the shit. And I'm just like, well, I don't know how to get out of this because the dude's like fucking trying to like get all on me. Like, that was the whole thing. And it was so, I didn't know how to get out of it. And like, I'm in the open on the main street. And that other guy pop in. So I talked about that part of the story. But yeah, that's who that was. Pretty sure. I'm just saying this. Pretty damn sure. And that's Dr. Dre's dwarf. Yes. So, and his pal. But the guy that was mainly doing the thing was the dwarf. The pal's just like hanging around like a sidekick, like off on the side. It's freaking weird, dude. I had no idea who the hell any of those people were. My friend back home that got busted later, she's the big fan of all that. And, she probably would have, I don't know if she would have known all this, but see, all these people are like people that my friends back home know. Like, they're into that stuff. And it's like me, I'm like, I no clue, dude. That's really what happened here. So, like, just because something was like 30 years ago doesn't mean you cannot identify them, or even more specific information such as the serial killer thing. I wanted to bring that back up because I found out, well, actually, it's actually creepy as hell, actually, and they need to look at that. See, they're screwing up all these cases, you guys. So there's a missing girl with these two rappers, at least we know at the time of. We don't know if she lived. She was not doing well. You guys, she was very underweight, very thin, very ill, and was on some type of drug. And they had her. And she was not okay. And there's nothing I could do. Okay? I can't do anything for myself. I can't do anything for that girl. The cops are not going to do anything. The way that the cops looked at it at the time is like, that's her own damn fault. She wanted it. Yeah, totally. So, and the cop probably raped her too, because those cops were doing they were very, very corrupt here. And that was my other main thing about it was the objective isn't to go out and bust a bunch of gang members. It was because they weren't the main thing in the story at all. It just happened to be this. But the technicality of it is that they're rappers, they're music people. And regardless if they're involved, you know what I mean? They're music people, and all these people were music people, and they're not all in gangs. Like they're still pimping out kids or raping kids or whatever the thing may be. It doesn't have to deal with a gang. It just happened to be that these two freakazoids came up, and that thing happened. But the serial killer thing has been in question because like I was trying to figure out who said it to me, though. I kept thinking it was that Mr. Holiday because he kept talking to me, and he would hang out sometimes even over by the Spice Club right there. I remember because I had my car parked on that side thing there at one day or night and whatever, and he took a nap. I was like, he took a nap, and I think, I don't know, he slept in it one time or something. Like, there was a thing about it. But totally trustworthy. I could, like, literally leave my purse next to that guy. That guy wouldn't even touch it. That's why I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, what the thing is with that? Because a lot of these people were out for no good. But not like the bullshit of the main guy that we're talking about. Like, not everybody was stealing off me and doing all that stuff. But like you still wouldn't want to trust people. Like that's kind of the thing. But this guy, no, totally. Like you could just like literally like leave your purse there, walk out, and like he wouldn't even touch it. Like I don't know, it was really weird. But then yet he's dealing with these shady at those two nasty Dr. Dre's dwarf. Okay, that thing. So then so I'm thinking that maybe Dre and them know that other guy. If that's possible, it could be a whole, I don't know, other thing going on there. But again, my objective and my thing here is about the narc corrupt cops that are involved in this that have been extorting me for money. Now they did this like it was part of the Rampart thing because I was going through it and I go, oh yeah, they totally did that to me. Like I was sitting there reading it going, I didn't even know they were doing all that over there. It was that type of thing. I go, that's funny. I didn't even know about all that. And I'm literally working over there. But like the bigger thing of it, like I was like, it's just, isn't this normal, guys? That they dump you off in the middle of the night. Like, I don't know. It was like that thing. But I was just saying the serial killer thing. So, yeah, I have a photographic video graphic memory. Okay, so even it plays like there's segments. And in this segment, um, I can't tell who's telling me because I'm not looking at their face. Now that's pretty typical of me. So that's actually it's not that I can't recognize people's faces or anything. It's just that generally when people talk to me, I concentrate and I look elsewhere. And maybe that's an autistic thing. Who knows? But I get a lot of information. I have a storehouse of information because I could do that. And this is one of them. So I have a very it's like an audio with the visual of me looking across the street at night and some guy saying, um, you need to be careful because there's a serial killer out here. Like it was serious. It wasn't like somebody trying to F with me or anything like that. And I was just like, well, serial killers are known to do that as well. And I was like, I can't rule that out because there was multiple serial killers out here. So, like I said, the cops had to remove me off a freeway because there was a serial killer out there. But that was in 2000 and early 2000. This here that we're talking about is in 1992, and there's no serial killer in that area that I could find that anybody would say that. What would have to occur for it even to be like a mistake is that a whole bunch of like people were dying, right? And at no point in time did I get any information that any girls died anywhere in that area. None. And it doesn't mean they didn't, but I never got any information like, oh, be careful, like, so there's some guys out here, none of that. And people talk, right? So it's just a thing like you would just be like, oh my God, like yesterday, something. Oh man, yesterday this whole thing was going down. Be careful because they be coming out here. We don't know. Like they'd be on guard. Like it's a thing like that. That did not go on. I would think that I'd be more freaked out. So at the time, it's just like you're saying that you heard a lot about them. Maybe the thought was, oh, they're hitting up sex workers, and I'm not a sex worker, so I was like, oh, I don't have nothing to worry about. Like it was probably some thing. I don't know what was going on in my brain, but it wasn't like a serious thing that I took in. I mean, I don't know. It just didn't. And so I don't have a specific memory of which person said it. I kept thinking it was that Mr. Holiday, the black male, but actually later, um, I was over by the Spice Club, and I believe it's called the Spice Club. I literally had to dig for this yesterday because there's hardly any information of the past of that area. And I go, there was a club there, and this is where I got kidnapped and all this other bullshit, and the rappers and this club. There was like some club right there. So all these people would gather out there at nighttime, right? And they came out, and some guy was talking to me, but there was a crowd of people. It was like everybody's hanging out, couple girls, couple guys, just hanging out, hanging out. And I was thinking, oh, maybe it was from that situation. So then the guy, and I was thinking, I was like, oh, that guy was like, I thought he was like in his 20s, but that's all I could say about the guy. And then, like, it may have been that guy, and then he's just telling me in my ear or telling me in this group of people. It was really weird. So I was like, that's a strange thing. So then, um, when I was searching for the serial killer, they were mostly all rolled out, right? They were these black males mostly at in the South Side, right? So then they were just ruled out for different reasons, and I think there was only one that I was like, well, that's a possibility because he kind of like had a period where he didn't do anything and then he did things later, but all his crimes mainly were in the South Side. And I go, well, I guess there's a possibility they could have came out here during that period and it was hanging out. Maybe it was that guy, right? I don't know. But the rest of them were like ruled out because they got apprehended before that, or some they went out of state, some bullshit, right? But I found another one, and he actually showed up at a club where I played, right? I played at this club in early 2000, and he showed up there prior. He was already apprehended before I was there, and he had gone in there, and then he killed this girl from there. And so one of his things that he did is he went to clubs. He went to nightclubs. He went to clubs, and just like that. And he would stab him to death. Like he took him home and he stabbed him to death. And I guess he killed a guy too. So it wasn't, he killed mostly women, but he killed a guy too. And then they said that he confessed to the OJ thing. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure OJ did that bullshit, but we have this right here. And I was like thinking about it, and I was like, could it be possible that the guy, before he actually got caught and did all this other stuff, that is it possible that he came out? Because here's another thing that was weird about it. I was looking at his birthday yesterday, and I go, oh, that's funny, because that's actually around the date that it would have been. July. He said July 15th. That's his birthday. And I go, oh, Okay, so that would mean that the guy would have been 29 or 30 at the time if that was let's just hypothetically say, like, what if that was him and he came out on his birthday and he went to this club, and it just so happened that I'm there because I have that luck. I absolutely have that luck. It's horrible. And the serial killer thing. So then I was looking at it and I go, well, that's a question because it could be a thing that he came out. Maybe he killed someone, or maybe he did not. And he was scouting to do that. And it's a scary thing because I was like, at that time, if somebody's like, oh, you want to stay over here and, help you out, like, oh my God. Because that's what happened when that cop thing happened, when they did the extortion thing. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah, this whole other thing. So I was like, I don't know. You don't want to think about this though, because I mean, that could happen to anyone. But because the people that he did it to were people were like, she's like, oh, he's cute. I want to date him, whatever bullshit. And then they go out and then they live with each other or whatever. And he just kills them. He's a serial killer. Like, it could happen to anybody. That's just a guy. Oh, I like this guy. And then all of a sudden he's a serial killer. So, but I was thinking about it. I go, yeah, that's possible that they could have came out and then they were doing that creepy ass thing like that other one recently did too. But they do that. Like, I've read it in so many different cases where it's like they'll bring up something or they're the actual killer and they're talking about the, thing. And I was like, that's very possible because the thing that's strange about it is that there's no story on anyone in that area. There was no talk of it on the street at that time. And it's very bizarre to randomly tell me, a young girl, that bullshit right there. And yeah, so I was like, well, that guy, if he came out, he would have had to go back to Ohio. I guess it was Ohio or something. And then the next killing happened in 93. So it was the following year. So I was like, well, I wouldn't rule it out unless they could prove that he wasn't here during his birthday time around those weeks. Because I actually can pinpoint the actual general timeline of that within a couple weeks of that period and which club. And at least that would be the only other place because it was either on the corner area where I was talking to that other guy or at the Spice Club when they were coming out. It was that general area right there. So yeah, it was important to note because I was like, yeah, so I got some information that could lead to some other bullshit. That's why I said the cops here are so corrupt. Why would they not obtain all this information? So they obtained all the information on the rappers, right? So on that they did. So then what they were doing was disregarding that I'm a victim in it, okay? I'm a victim to those guys, regardless if they didn't take me out and start pimping me out. I'm a victim to those that dwarf, Dr. Dre's dwarf, and the fact that they're pedophiles, and the fact that they had a kid. Now, there's a tank of missing kids out here, and so your question is she alive? Did they kill her? What the hell? Did some other homies take her? Like, what is going on here, right? That's what you want to know. And so their MO is we want to bust a bunch of gang members. So, you have any information about all these gang members? Because, like, we don't care about, the other celebrities and your stuff. We don't care that you're a victim. They literally didn't care that I'm a victim at all. Which is the whole reason why I'm reporting anyway. But I'm also reporting that I seen other kids harmed. Like, that's another thing to it. So, here's my message to you guys also. If you know information about this and want to help out, please leave it down there if you remember anything from these portions from May, June, and July of 1992 in the area of Hollywood Boulevard all the way down to La Brea. It could be anywhere, into Sunset, out into the Whiskey, any street things. If you saw any kids, whatever. I saw a tank of kids, a tank. But they were not all with gang members. I was like, this is the only one that I seen with a damn gang member. The rest of them, a lot of them, if there was somebody else involved, they were not present at the time of when I was there. The other stuff has to deal with this ring over here, which is allegedly was ran by a Russian mafia. I don't know, some dude like that, because they were talking about the Russian mafia taking over the area. So I don't know if it's the Russian mafia being the narcs inside the LAPD. I don't know what. See, that's why I'm bringing it up, because it's not a thing where I'm going, oh, I'm narking on all the, gang members, like the street gang member. That's not it. I go, there's something really dangerous that was going on at the time, because they were narking to do an extortion thing on me. And so I was like, that's not right. Like, they literally to my face are basically saying, we're being corrupt right now, so you're just gonna have to deal with it. Like, basically like that. And I'm like, well, who's this white guy? Because there's a white guy that was in it too. So I was like, he took a kid. So why isn't he in trouble? Because listen, the cop was at my car. I just came out of an apartment. I'm a child. I don't know who the hell that is. I'm not from this area. They had the ID. They didn't even care about this thing right here either. So, yeah, there's a lot in it. So, that's why we're bringing all that up. And Dr. Dwarf is a pedo, I guess. So, that's another thing. So, but that's just, like I said, it's just like this weird clown edition in the middle of this other deeper, bigger thing that was going on. And then when these gang cases were whatever, when all those other celebrity ones were getting killed and stuff, it coincided with all the targets on me and them chasing me all over the place and asking me for money into Nevada, and the Rampart thing happening over there. I go, yeah, no, because it was all related at the beginning here, right? In 92, where I'm dealing with the AC people, right? They're pedos. That's why I'm here. And then all these creepy crawlers that have these extensions to those people, I guess. But I didn't know they did, because I didn't listen to that thing over there. So, yeah, there's something in it. And I'm saying that it wouldn't be the people that I'm talking to, because they would have came up at me at the time. They would have been coming up after me later. They would have been making threats. They would have been probably shooting on my car. They wouldn't be taking a Sharpie and putting FU on my window. That's not what they do. Like, if you were out here, you know that if there was a problem, it's not going to end very well. And they were very fine with scaring you off with pulling out a gun. They may not shoot you, but they're very happy doing that. And they don't care if there's a cop standing there. Like, that's like the mentality of them. And for LAPD to try to think that I'm so... The thing about LAPD is so stupid, because when they came over here covering up the other crimes on me, they're just like, you seem to... You know more about gangs than we do. I'm like, what type of smart-ass comment is that? So, the only other dealings I ever knew about any gangs besides the job thing were, how do I know that they're in a gang, right? You guys gave them a license, so that would be LA County, right? Mm-mm. But after this whole situation with the Dr. Dre's door, I went to Orange County, and they had what was it? Had a church where they were taking gang members off the street and they were rehabilitating them for a new life, right? They removed all their tattoos. They did all these things. And so I wanted to support that organ, go there, and, they did their thing. So, yeah, so I was listening to their stories and everything else. And so they were leaving the street life and, doing their whole other thing. And that was the only time I ever dealt with any of that. Like, that would be what I'd be for. Get the hell out of that shit. You know what I mean? Like, that was my thing back then. But, yeah, and that was in, like, 93, 94, yeah. So, no, I have no deal. Why would I be dealing with that? I was like, no, but that's the thing. But Jesus freaks, honey. So they turned their life to God and left the gangs. Yeah, and so then they helped them like remove their tattoos and get them jobs and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's what I was like, oh, this is wonderful. Yeah, after seeing Dr. Dre's like fucking loser dwarf. Yeah, yeah. So why does LAPD saying comments like that and then trying to insinuate that gang members did all that stuff? They didn't. You only need one experience with the gang to literally know, oh yeah, they wouldn't do that. Yeah, you know? Yeah, but those dudes are gang member Grammy award winners. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. It's not a. They're not. I mean, I don't know if they were living in this. They didn't look it. That was the other thing about it. I was like, they looked like they were doing quite fine. I know the look of it. I was like, yeah, but they probably stole all that shit to look quite fine. But um, yeah, because the rest of them that were out there, and that may be why I also overlooked the other ones. Like they just look like they weren't like being all flashy, like look, that type of thing. So that could be another thing. But I just wanted to put that addition out here, so if there's any clarification for any of that stuff. But yeah, the serial killer guy, that's important. That actually is, because I was like, I want to get down to the bottom of that thing right there, because LAPD is known to not tell you that there's a serial killer out here, right? They don't care about women. They don't care about nothing. Okay, so they don't care about any of that, and they'll sit there and not tell the public, and then all of a sudden, like it'll be like a bunch of people going, "There's a serial killer out here," and they're like, "No, we don't see any correlation to these crimes, to these," like they'll do this bullshit. And then, oh yeah, we gotta walk it back. That just recently happened on another thing. They keep doing that. We don't want to get the public all scared. Yeah, oh yeah, it's better to like be dumb and not know there's a serial killer out here. Yeah, but that's them. They won't tell you. And that's why I said, oh, it could be a narc too telling me that, because it would be like the law enforcement knowing that information, but nobody else does. And then they throw that out at me. Yeah, totally. That's why I was like, oh god, it pisses me off that I don't know which. I'm not very confident on which person said it, but I was like, yeah, no. But if we're talking about a possibility of maybe it was this other guy, well, you would want to know if he came out here in '92 at his birthday time. I just thought that was weird. I go, the dates of it. I go, no, that's actually the time period where the rapper thing happened, and then this dude come over. Somebody said this comment, and then it was like within this 2 week span there, and then after that, I got taken to North Hollywood, right? So it wasn't very long in this little portion right here where I'm talking with the other dude, and I'm over here and I'm over here and I'm over here, and then finally I get nabbed, right? So that whole thing, because the cops like did that whole other extortion thing over there, and so yeah, they watched the. I don't know why they're acting like they didn't watch this whole thing. I go, you kidding me? They were involved in watching me. They're the ones that watched me to come up to my car that one day and then extorted me for money. So yeah, they were watching the whole time. Like they were acting like how they're acting like they're being narcotics officer, like they're watching all that thing. Yeah, totally. But then they were being corrupt. Like it wasn't, oh, we're gonna go arrest that guy for abusing that kid, or how do you get, who's he and why is he around, none of that. And then they watched them all human trafficking little 13-year-olds naked down the street. The cops, yeah, totally. That's why I'm like, why are you guys acting all fucking shocked? You guys walked out there and walked by the same stuff and didn't do anything. So it's not like there's people walking around. So that's the public. That's the public. They're seeing it. They're seeing it. They don't. It's not even. They don't care. The Christian public. The Christian public. So the Christians are just like, cool, you know, those evil, sinful kids, walking around half naked, with some Dr. Dre's dwarf. You know what I mean? That thing. That was the most ridiculous thing I'd seen. And then so when I'm telling government, this agent, oh, this little, I think I used the M word at the time, the inappropriate one. But anyway, I'm telling him like this. The guy, like I'm thinking, the guy's probably sitting there going, "This is totally made up. It's totally made up. It's fake." Some, small dwarf guy who's like out here with the 13-year-old half naked kid. You know what I mean? Like it sounds ridiculous. Like I said, when I seen it, it was ridiculous. Like, I was trying not to laugh at just seeing these two fools walking up. Like I said, it was funny up until, you know, then it turned to that. But I was like, oh my gosh, the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It is. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Somebody that's like a few feet shorter than me walking around like they're the hardest thing in town, and then that. And I'm like, okay, you can't even make this up. Like, you just can't make it up. You can't. Like, and and for me, if I were to go and make up some story like that to law enforcement, like, I can get in trouble though too, just making up something. But they could look at it like, oh, she's that, and I go, okay, well, at least right now, in this point in time, they had that information 13 years ago. They can go reference the information I gave them and look on Dr. Dre's video, and they fit that description, do they not? I didn't even know that existed. That was crazy. I just found it the other day, and I was like, what the hell? Like, for like this hot minute, they're like in this video, and I go, oh, and that was literally like months and months and months later. It was like the beginning of the following year or something. So I was like, dude, I was like, they're right there. Like the description, I go, they're right there. So for them, for the agents to not figure that out is ridiculous. Because how many, like I said, how many people fit that description? How many? Not that many. I was like, if there's a few, maybe, but mostly then, no. And in that area and during that time, and why would they be over there, right? They're connected to people that are connected to these people. That's why I said, I go, there has to be a lot more to that than me just going, oh, the guy looks like him, right? Because that's what I was looking at. Because I was like, I don't want to accuse like some guy that's in a different state. It's just that I go, I'm suspicious of that guy right there, but I don't know. Like, is he here? Was he here? Like, what would be the damn reason that this fool is right in this area at the time? Well, he has a reason to, because Suge Knight and Dr. Dre were down the street working on a CD, on that damn project right there. And then they taped a video later, and those guys were I don't know, they were dealing with Rick Rubin. And I was like, well, okay, so this makes sense. Like, it makes sense in the bigger picture of things, of why they're strolling around, this whole thing right there. So I was like, okay. And so that's why that happened. They weren't against being with kids. Are you kidding me? I mean, I can't say what Dre and all them saw, but, maybe those guys brought that girl into the studio. How do I know? They should have been questioned. And they didn't get questioned. I'm pretty sure they did not get questioned. And then the guy dies, and I'm like, oh, well, that's great. And they keep doing this. Like, there's multiple people in this stuff they're not gang members or anything like that. They wait until the people die. And then, we can't do anything, blah, blah, blah. Oh, we're really wondering where all these missing kids are. And I'm sitting there going, they were in these buildings. I know where they were. They don't even care. They're off elsewhere. They're full of shit. They just want to go bust gang member activity. They don't care that they're pimping out little girls. They want to just bust them all off the street. That's the MO of them. And I go, but there's some inner thing going on there, because they're being criminal on them on the street. And this is dangerous, because you don't want none of this kind of crap going on. Because then, it just fuels that thing more. And then, there's a whole other thing going on. There's a whole underground, we're all criminals thing going on, and the cops don't do shit, right? That's the thing about it. So they start warring with them and start being corrupt and dumping them off and other gang members and calling the gang members out so they can come and kill them. Yeah, doing stuff like that. So, yeah. And that's kind of what happened here. That's why I was like, wait. And so I go, I know what they're trying to cover up now. Because I go, this was the only thing that happened in the 92 portion for anything to be tailed off, is that I know that the cops were being corrupt. That's the thing about it. And then they want to cover up, because if you went into this and they would get busted, right? It's like, why didn't you rescue? Like, this whole other thing to it. So, yeah, and so they've been on a target, and then knowing they can extort me because they took all my money here and all my stuff, right? So they did grand theft, auto theft, all this stuff, right? So they know, oh, look, we can keep doing this to her. Yeah. That's what they've been doing. So, and then but I've been reporting it. And so then now you have a problem where it's not just the law enforcement. You have a problem where it's agents and LA County and a whole bunch of other people. And these are all Christians. This isn't a thing where it's like any other thing outside you guys. You guys are totally down with this shit. What are you talking about? The whole county was ran by a bunch of Christian loons, mostly in 92. So yeah, no. That's what was going on then. You evil little kids, we're gonna throw you out in the street. What do you think that is? That's why those kids were out there. So I'm sitting there trying to figure out, like, where the hell's this door place? Mm, it actually could have been on that side of the Spice Club thing too, and maybe that they rebuilt things, and that's why I can't find it. There was a door, and there was a bunch of stuff there too, and then which could have been Scientology, could have been a Christian private thing. It could have been who knows, but yeah, there was kids all over the place, and everybody left them there because they believed that they were bad little kids and that they're criminal. Yeah, it was crazy stuff, dude. That's why all this was going on, and I have so many like stories of seeing kids getting harmed, and and it was not just a G thing, dude. That I didn't see, like I said, I didn't see any other gang members running around with a half naked little kid. It was the dwarf. I was like, it was the dwarf. So which is ridiculous. Every part of that.